What do you do when your partner's trying to watch an online cam show of somebody that they know IRL? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, my boyfriend, 31-year-old male, makes me, 30-year-old female, feel ashamed of my body. I don't feel comfortable being naked around my BF because he is continuously making comments about how I should wax certain areas and lose weight. I feel like my struggles with body hair and weight are something I should be working on my own over time. While going through this process, I don't think it's right for anyone to be making comments on my body. We've been together for 4 years and been close friends for 8 years, but my boyfriend thinks it should be okay for him to express his opinion about what he wants, and I shouldn't make him feel guilty for it. What should I do? I'm really confused. I don't think this is right, but I don't know how to make him understand that his continuous comments on my body, whenever I'm naked or half-clothed around him, make me feel extremely conscious and ashamed. So, I mean, as far as grooming habits, I think it's okay for a partner to have their preferences. But I mean, clearly things aren't clicking if they're putting you down for it or making you feel self-conscious. And the whole second half about losing weight or telling you that you need to lose weight, I think that whole behavior is just ridiculous. And to me, not indicative of a supportive partner at all. Why put up with somebody that just makes you feel bad about yourself all the time? Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy tricky relationship topics, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is it weird that my boyfriend doesn't want to tell his best friends that we're dating? It's bothering me. I, female 25, and my boyfriend, 27, have been dating for almost 2 years now. Also, we live together. We started living as flatmates/friends first. Now, recently we were having a conversation and he told me that one of his best friends asked him whether he's dating anyone currently. My boyfriend said he's still single to the friend. This did not sit right with me. So I asked him why he said that, and he told me that he prefers to keep things private. Okay. And he told me that he hasn't told any one of his friends. These are his best friends we're talking about, the ones he grew up with. Still, I respected that. Maybe he really does want to keep things private. Plus, I don't expect him to go and declare it to everyone in the world, but I just expected at least when one of his best friends asked, he would tell the truth. Anyway, further down the conversation, he told me, even during my previous relationships, I've never told any of my friends that I'm dating someone. They would find out from my posts. This was weird because he never posts anything about us anywhere. See, I don't mind him not posting us, but not telling his best friends doesn't sit right with me. Am I just overthinking it? Also, just yesterday he was on the phone with one of his best friends again, and I heard the same friend asking him if he's seeing anyone currently. As a friend, he was curious, I guess, and I heard my boyfriend deny it, and I guess the friend persisted. So I heard him say something along the lines of, "Nah, I'm sure. I first need to lose some weight and get in shape for that." I haven't brought up yesterday's incident with him yet because the last time we had the conversation, he asked me not to think about it too much as it's only making me sad. Of course it's making me sad. Please give me some advice on how to approach the subject with him, because last time I brought it up, he just pushed it under the rug. If you're in a relationship where they don't want to acknowledge the relationship, are you really in a relationship? To me, they're treating OP like some under-the-table side piece that they don't want to tell anybody about. If this is serious, if you are truly dating, there's no reason they can't acknowledge that to anybody that's in their life. Can they not even give you an actual reason? There's no reason to say, well, I just want it to be private. That's no reason. There would be a reason for wanting to keep it private, but just wanting to keep it private, I don't buy as a reason alone at all. If I were to talk to OP, I would tell them to go to him, demand that you have an actual relationship, or that you're gonna bounce because this isn't a relationship. You've been dating for 2 years and nobody knows? Our next story is, I, female 27, found my long-distance partner, male 33, who I'm exclusive with on a dating app with a picture of me on there blocked out. I, female 28, couldn't sleep last night and was overthinking about recently being exclusive with male 33, the guy I'm seeing, and was wondering if he came off the dating apps. I noticed when I was with him this September, before we decided on being more serious, that he got notifications from Hinge. And I said it was rude for me to see this whilst I was there. The rest of the time, he didn't get notifications and we were okay. I knew at the time we weren't serious yet, so I said just don't do it whilst I'm here, please. We agreed on that. I then flew home on October 8th. Now, after staying together for 6 weeks, we talked and recently became exclusive around October 15th. I paused all my dating apps and came off them completely, so last night after overthinking, I wanted to check he did too. so I set it to his location and age, and that's when I saw that he still has his account up. I also noticed his first picture was the both of us in Times Square from when I first met him in January, only my face is being blocked by an emoji. I don't know how to feel about this part in particular. What do? I know I have to talk to him about this naturally, but I'm not sure how to phrase this. I feel bad for checking, but I wanted to see if my gut was right or at least put my mind at ease. When I looked, it was too late to ask him as he would have been asleep for sure. Since coming home, we've even spoken about me moving there permanently with him and even marrying to get a green card because we love each other and want to make this work. To clarify, I wasn't dating him back in January, but we took lots of cute pictures then and recently said he wanted to make this official as he didn't want to lose me. Am I overthinking this? Thank you. I mean, if you weren't actually dating at the time those pictures were taken, it's possible that it was being used back then and isn't anymore. Generally, I don't approve of snooping, but I think this would be the one situation where, if they have nothing to hide, bring up the fact that you found their account and have him show you that he hasn't been using it. If he hasn't been using it when you guys were serious, then there's nothing to hide, right? This next story is, am I overreacting to my husband's addiction to big boobs? My phone had recently died, and I, 30-year-old female, asked my husband, 30-year-old male, if I could kill time using his phone while mine was charging, to watch Instagram shorts, YouTube, etc. He was working anyway and wasn't using it, and we're pretty much open about everything and trust each other enough to have swapped phones in the past or look at each other's phone when watching something funny together, etc. We live in a small studio, and there really isn't much privacy here anyway. He seemed nervous to give me his phone this time though, and told me to do something else like watch TV or use my phone while it's charging instead. I was confused and asked him playfully if he was hiding anything or if he did something wrong, so he ended up just giving his phone to me. I started mindlessly scrolling through Instagram shorts, and we generally have the same humor, so we even end up often seeing the same videos. But then randomly there was a video of a very busty girl whose content was purely for the views and for NSFW content. I skipped over it because it can happen here and there. Sometimes I get random thirst trap videos too, but a few more came through and they were quite noticeable. I then went to his search page on Instagram, and while the search bar was blank, nothing in history, all of the pics were of girls with the same profile. Girls with huge chests wearing tight shirts and provocative poses, literally every single picture. I also saw that he'd clicked into some of the profiles and links of some of the girls recently too, because that showed in his Instagram link history. I know this is low to check, but my heart was racing and this made me feel even worse, knowing he did more than just casually browsing. He actually clicked into their profiles and individual sites. The reason why this hurts me more is because there was an instance last year when I almost broke up with him because of this exact same scenario, but with TikTok. One day his alarm went off and I woke up to open his phone to shut it off, only to find that he was on TikTok, and all of the profiles he followed were of this same demographic. Huge-breasted women doing dances and etc. This enraged me because he had his full name in his profile and it was so disrespectful to me as his partner. I felt so insecure, especially because I could never be like that. I'm petite with a thinner frame, and this was obviously his type. When I brought it up to him later that day, I cried and stormed out and we almost broke up because I was so hurt. That was the first and only time we ever fought where I cried so much during our relationship. He felt terrible and promised he'd never do it again and deleted TikTok since. Whenever TikTok is brought up, it's usually awkward for us because of this negative memory, and that's also why I've also never downloaded it. I don't know if I should bring this up again or just dismiss it since most guys tend to do this and it's harmless. I feel like it would be better if he just watched adult entertainment at this point, since they are adult entertainment stars and acting. But these people on Instagram or TikTok are not actors and are people who can be local and are real. We have a great relationship otherwise, and he truly is the sweetest and kindest guy I've ever met. But this does really hurt a lot, especially since it happened again. I'm a generally confident woman and have had a few serious relationships, but this always has made me insecure because he's never had a girlfriend prior to me, and I then begin to doubt if he ever would want to be with someone else that fits that profile. All the past trauma and insecurities come out. Should I address this with him? And if so, how? I think there's probably going to be a lot of guys that do actually do similar things. I think the line that ends up getting crossed here is this isn't just a guy who's watching adult entertainment. I mean, I'm willing to bet in most committed relationships, probably a good high percentage of men probably still do that from time to time. The thing that's going on here is this guy's following individual people and kind of creating these semi-parasocial relationships with individuals who might not actually be professionals in that kind of thing. This isn't like somebody who has their favorite star. This is them following so-and-so who's flaunting their stuff, who might have 5,000 followers, who might live just down the street for all they know. I think considering the history, OP has to identify whether or not they're okay with this, if they can live with this kind of behavior, because I just doubt it's going to stop, and I think it's going to be really unhealthy to say, you need to stop this. I'm not okay with it, and for them to say, okay, I will, and then turn around and just try to get even sneakier with it. I mean, short of this guy getting some psychology or therapy work, I just don't think this is going to change for him. It sounds like it's already there, but it sounds like this is going to be leading even further to some serious trust issues. This next story is, I, 36-year-old female, am wondering if he, 35-year-old male, is going too fast in our 1-week-long relationship. I've been talking to this guy, 35-year-old male, I met on Facebook for about 10 days now. We haven't met IRL yet. I've, 36-year-old female, only ever had a real relationship once, and it ended up being built and full of lies. He was married and I didn't know, so I don't have a lot of experience in relationships. I also didn't have a healthy emotional relationship with my parents, no tenderness or I love you, and I was on my own a lot growing up. All this to say, I know I have intimacies issues. It's hard for me to express my emotions or even to really let myself feel them. I'm very independent and I tend to rationalize everything. I don't really have a scope of what's normal or not when it comes to social or romantic interactions. This guy is kind of the opposite, and it scares me a little. After a week talking, he's already considering that we're a couple, says he's starting to fall in love with me, talks about meeting his family. We're planning on meeting next week, and he basically said that he wasn't sure if he would be able to stop hugging and kissing me right away because he's so fond of me already. This really scared me because that seems extreme, but I can't tell if it's a red flag or if I'm just being emotionally constipated. I mean, he seems nice and I like him so far, but I can't really feel anything or trust someone I've never met. I told him he was going too fast, and some things about my past to explain that I couldn't act like he was and that it made me anxious. He said he understood, yet he's still very, very enthusiastic about our relationship, while I don't even consider we do have one at this point. I really don't know what to think. I do like him, but he also scares me with his openness. It makes me feel like, even if we do hit it off IRL, I'll never be able to give him back all the romance and compliments he's giving me. It also makes me feel awkward because I don't know how to respond to it without essentially lying about what I feel. But I also feel like I may hurt him if I say nothing. Well, I certainly think the worst thing OP can do is to feel pressured by his overreactions to want to reciprocate it in some way when they don't actually feel that way. This guy is racing through this relationship faster than just about anybody. I mean, you could have convinced me that this was some high school relationship or something that was going on, not somebody who's 35 years old. I would think for a lot of people, the way this guy's acting would just be a straight up no-go. They would shut it down from there. It's just too much. Our next story is, boyfriend, 24-year-old male, told me, 23-year-old female, he doesn't worry about our relationship because I always stay regardless of how he treats me. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a year now, and the first 3 or 4 months were amazing. He was everything you expect. Loving and emotionally available, but after a point, he started getting emotionally distant. He always reassured me that it was just his work that was stressing him out, and I completely understood. He works long hours and is trying really hard to make something out of himself. When he comes home, it was always quite late, and he's usually super burnt out and exhausted. I always gave him his space and let him recharge. This usually means we don't call for 2 or 3 days straight, and just send a few texts to each other during the day. Even when he does call, we talk very briefly, and sometimes he sounds kind of annoyed. Not often, but sometimes. On the weekends, he usually makes time for his hobbies and goes drinking at night with friends. Sometimes I go over to his place to spend some time with him, but he always seems mentally occupied, like he would just rather chill alone than spend time with me. I can tell that it's very draining for him, so I feel guilty even initiating meetups now. I am an empathetic person to a fault, so I always accommodate his feelings and needs at the detriment of my own. But then things come to a head when I can't take it anymore, and I confront him. Whenever I confront him, he always says the same thing. He tells me he loves me, but that he's burnt out and tired and sometimes can't give me the attention I need. Then he promises he'll put in more effort, but in a day or two, he's back to his old ways. Recently, we had another one of our talks, and after we resolved our issues, he offhandedly, while laughing, said he doesn't worry about our relationship because he knows I will always stay, and that I won't go anywhere despite how he treats me. I feel so insulted right now. I sacrifice so much and am so understanding because I love him, and all this time he had perceived my selflessness as me being easy and not having any self-respect to just up and leave him. He is so sure that I will always be around that he doesn't really feel the need to put in any effort. I love him and can't really bear to walk away, so he's probably right. But this just proved my worst fears that he has truly taken me for granted as someone he can give the bare minimum to but will stick by him regardless. What is my best course of action moving forward? I would prefer not to break up, but if it comes to it, I'm at a point where I will do it. If you really don't want to break up and you think that there's a possibility they could turn this around, you would have to be open and communicate and tell them how you feel about what they said and that they need to start prioritizing time for you or you will leave them. Like, I get that things are tiring and stressful in their day-to-day, but they're committed to this relationship, right? Well, then they should make an effort and prove that. I mean, they're kind of just using you at this point for whatever pleasures they get on the side, whenever it's convenient for them. Our next story is, my 30-year-old female boyfriend, 31-year-old male, consistently suggests cheaper alternatives that are either low quality or completely different. A huge difference between my partner and I is how we view money. It has to do with our upbringing and personality. There are times we compromise and see eye to eye, but most of the time we don't. I feel like part of the issue for me is not just that he's a lot more frugal than me, but also that it makes me think he's selfish. We live in different cities, and when he visits me, I pay for all activities. When I visit him, he pays for more activities, but I'll cover things like items in his home, essentials, furniture, and groceries. He is really bare bones, like the man doesn't even have proper band-aids for adults. So I try to gift him essentials that he doesn't buy for himself to show that I care for him and so he can be more comfortable in his daily life. It's just really disappointing to me that I bought him an expensive birthday present that was double what I expected to spend, but I did it happily. Whereas when it comes to my birthday, he tried to swap out a custom cake with plant decorations with ones that looks really tacky or autumn cupcakes. He said autumn leaves on the cupcake are like leaves on plants, and cupcakes are like mini cakes, so this could be acceptable. He does this all the time. I found a budget hotel for an upcoming trip we're going on that I've been to before and trust. And he wants to cut corners even further by sending one that's even cheaper. He didn't bother to do the research required to read reviews to make sure his suggestion was a safe one, but told me to do the research, and that the change was about the numbers. I feel like if he needs to suggest a cheaper alternative, he needs to shoulder the research behind it, and it shouldn't just be chosen based on numbers alone. I obviously want to save money if it makes sense, but I'd much rather spend my evenings doing something else than the hours of research to save a buck when what I suggested was already economical to start with. I asked him if he really hates getting me a cake for my birthday because of the vibe I'm getting. He asked why I care about a cake, and that he personally doesn't care for cakes. I told him I got a cake delivered for his birthday and coordinated with a friend of his to get it to his guy group celebration so that it could be a surprise, which he really enjoyed. I said I don't care for a Canada Goose jacket or fishing or motorcycles like he does, but I respect his hobbies and even come with him to do them with him, so why can't he care about the things I care about? We're not exactly arguing, but there's tension, and I'm feeling like he doesn't care about me. He's the one who told me he expected me to get him a gift and dinner and cake. He wanted cake when it came to him, but for me, it's, why do you care about a cake? I'm fine being a couple who doesn't go over the top for each other's birthday, but he wanted me to go over the top for him. So this led me to think that when mine came, he would do the same. It's not about a cake. I don't need a cake, and if I really want one, I can buy myself one. He wants me to spend time with him in his city during my birthday, which means I'll be away from my family and friends. The cake is also not just for me, but for us to bring to the family dinner we're having, which includes his extended family. I even made a suggestion to choose a flavor that's less sweet for his parents. I don't even know why I bothered to suggest him to get me a plant-themed cake, because the whole thing makes me more sad than brings me joy. Am I being materialistic, or are my feelings valid? I'm questioning this relationship, and even though I've gone to therapy to build my self-confidence, there's a voice in my head that tells me I'm wrong. I think OP's feelings are very valid. If they want to have something to celebrate their birthday, they want a special cake, they deserve to have a special cake. What's wrong with that? I mean, if you're in a financial situation where you literally can't afford it or it makes no sense to go out of your way to get the special cake, sure, maybe there's an argument to be had. But if it's just about saving money to save money, what's the point? You only live once. If I'm in a relationship and my partner expresses they want something for their birthday, and it's also something as menial as a special cake, I'd be going out of my way to try to make sure it happens, even if that means spending a little bit more than you expected. I don't think it's even about the materialistic things, it's about them not valuing what OP wants or desires. Our next story is, partner, 32-year-old male, doesn't want me, 27-year-old female, attending festivals without him, and ruins the experience of the one we go to together by rushing it because he doesn't want to be there. Not sure if I'm being unreasonable, advice greatly appreciated. My 27-year-old female, partner, 32-year-old male, doesn't want me to go to music festivals without him. He says it's a boundary he has because festivals are inherently sexual and made for single people. I can see why he thinks they can be sexual, but ultimately, I'm only there for the music and, in my opinion, my intentions should be what matters, not anyone else's. We started dating before I discovered the electronic music scene and festivals, so this didn't become an issue until a couple years into our relationship once I discovered it. We've been together 8 years. He isn't a fan of festivals at all, but knows how important they are to me, so he'll go to one a year with me, the biggest one in our region. However, by the time we make the 4-hour drive and wait in the 4-hour line to get on the grounds, then find and set up camp, we start getting to actually experience the festival around 11 p.m. Friday, then have Saturday, and then start packing up to leave by noon at the latest on Sunday. This also leaves very little time for sleep and rest, so the whole thing is way more exhausting than it needs to be. Mind you, the festival runs from Thursday to Monday, but my boyfriend refuses to go a day early or stay until Monday. So I look forward to this thing for a whole year and then only spend about 36 hours there because he refuses to stay a moment longer. I appreciate that he compromises enough to even come to the festival, but man, my experience would be so much more full without his arbitrarily imposed time restrictions on it. He does have extreme insomnia and has a great deal of trouble sleeping, especially away from home, and he's mildly autistic and really hates if we stray from plans at all, so I know these are factors in his behavior. I've begged him to just attend this festival for one more night so the whole experience isn't so rushed and stressful as heck, but he refuses, and he won't agree to me staying an extra night with friends, then him coming down the next day. No matter my suggestion, he won't budge. He says he is compromising by going, which is technically true, I guess. But after 4 years of attending this festival like this, it is just too chaotic and stressful trying to experience it all in under 36 hours while also having any time to sleep, rest, or eat. It goes by insanely fast, and I miss my favorite artists setting up camp most years. This issue creates major tension between us year after year. I also don't like the idea that if one day I get the opportunity to go to a different festival, for example, one across the country where my good friend just moved, I wouldn't be able to go because he doesn't want me to. We almost broke up over this issue once. I stayed with a friend for a week, and when we talked again, I was initially leaning towards breaking up, but then realized how silly I might be for choosing to lose all we have over attending festivals. So we have stayed together since then, but I frequently ruminate on if this might be a deal breaker. He says I rely too much on festivals for my happiness, which may be true, but how would I even know? I only get to attend half of one per year. Maybe the grass isn't greener being able to attend more festivals. I truly don't know, but I hate the not knowing part. I also don't want to risk it all and lose him and the lives we've built together for something that sounds so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. He says that this is just regular compromise in a relationship. You don't get to do everything you want to do whenever you want to do it. You don't always get to have your cake and eat it too, so to speak, which I understand. But to me, this shouldn't be something I have to compromise so much on, as it's a big part of who I am at this point, and my passion for it isn't going anywhere. But maybe he's right. Maybe I focus and rely too much on it for my happiness. Maybe going to more festivals or going to the one we go to for longer wouldn't actually make me any happier. Maybe I'm too focused on what I don't have instead of focusing on all the beautiful things we have together. Maybe I'm being unreasonable. I just don't know. He says he would understand and respect it if I need to move on over this issue. In the past, he wasn't cool with me going to local electronic music shows at the bar without him, but he also rarely ever wanted to go. After a ton of conversations, he finally came around to being okay with me going out to those without him, which was huge, massive progress. But I don't see that ever happening with festivals. When I go to shows, I still come home at the end of the night, and that wouldn't be happening with festivals. He's promised to go to one of the more local festivals as well next year for us to spend the day and some of the night at, then drive home in the middle of the night to avoid camping. So that's definitely something. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this and offering any insight. I know these subreddits are so quick to tell people to run for the hills and break up immediately, but it would be super helpful if anyone had any insights on how to make this work. If there's a way that I can look at it differently or come at it from a different angle, etc. Listen, I get that this guy has some discomfort with this, but I think this is a textbook case of controlling. Them saying, no, you cannot do that, and then trying to honestly even gaslight you and saying that this is just regular compromise in a relationship, you don't get to do everything you want to do, is actually kind of slimy sounding to me. He's basically saying to you, you don't get to do all of the things you want to do without my approval, and that's just how relationships work. I think life is too short for you to have these desires to go and experience these festivals and not be allowed to because they're just uncomfortable with it. I think either they allow you to go and allow you to experience it the way you want to experience without cheating or doing anything to affect your relationship, or politely, they need to step out of the way. This next story is my boyfriend crossing adult entertainment line? I, 34-year-old female, have been with my partner, 30-year-old male, for a couple years. I have not had a healthy relationship experience, so I'm here asking for advice because I want to keep things healthy. My partner watches adult entertainment, and there are a few sites he uses. He doesn't try to hide anything. He has a friend he's known prior to me, I don't know for how long. She's a cam girl. She has a few Facebook profiles, and he has a few of them on his friends list. He has been lately checking her Facebook and her websites more often than he used to. He still watches random people, but it looks like he is really trying to get to watch this friend when she's streaming, and he may already have. Is this something that would be considered crossing a line? I haven't asked him about it. I'm not sure how, and if it doesn't seem like it's an actual problem, I want to let it go. Update, I brought it up as something I feel crosses a line. We had a conversation where he expressed he was curious, but said if I am uncomfortable with it, then he will not view her content. For more context, he's known her in some aspect since high school. They don't talk really outside of an occasional comment on social media. He doesn't or hasn't watched the lives because he hasn't been on when she was on. He didn't get mad or upset. He said he understood, and that was that. I would also like to thank all the genuine help and advice. Navigating a relationship in a healthy way is new and terrifying to me, and I was not expecting as much support as I got. It won't let me reply to more comments, but thank you all. I mean, it sounds to me like OP clearly found a resolution here, and that's great, but I'm just trying to imagine myself in that situation, and knowing that your partner knew that person, like personally. Like, some people might argue, oh, well, they're just doing it to be supportive. But like, going out of their way to try to watch the lives, I don't know if I would be comfortable with that. And I would still be probably keeping an eye out to make sure that they're actually truthful and honest when they say, oh, I understand. I won't cross that line. I just think, in general, taking a step back, that probably should have been a blatantly clear enough line to not have attempted to cross already. Going forward, if you had a partner who had already gone and tried to watch this stuff, would you be able to trust that they were truthful and honest that they aren't going to in the future? I mean, all they have to do is make sure they delete the history, right? But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely tricky relationship topic, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.